Okay.
Yep. Welcome everybody to Launch Lab. My name is Aaron Cadillo, and I will be hosting alongside Alex Sabatilli-Reger and my wife, Melissa Cadillo. Just before I jump in and introduce both of them, just again, the purposes of this call is to help you empower yourself to get to the manager level. You know, we want to be able to get people to team manager as fast as possible and create an environment where they feel like they're being supported. And in the future, Alex is going to be creating a leadership lab, and that'll probably be coming in January, where when you get to that level, you know, how do you support your team, still do the business, still being reached out, but really learn how to manage your team and support them getting to manager, because that's a really key position. And I think we're going to talk about that tonight. So just so you understand how the structure of the calls go, they're 45 minutes. We have a hard stop around 7:45, which tends to get a little stretched out. But the reason why we do that is because Alex does another call at 8 o'clock, which is a great call. If anybody has some interest in LifeWave, really wants to put them in front of somebody who's an expert and really can tell the story of X39 really well, and even a bit of the business, make sure you have people that are on that call at 8 o'clock. So the first, part of the call, about the 10-15 minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to recap the Soulful selling series that Alex did for episode 3 and 4. And then we're going to help kind of tie that into our goal setting for, the new year, and what that looks like from a soulful selling perspective, right? Another issue we want to kind of touch on tonight is some of the current brand partner promotions. And then we'll kind of recap it all and bring it all back together. And just, I know a lot of you guys are starting your businesses from scratch. And how do you get started? What are the key things? What does it mean to stay active, I should say? And, how do you hit that team manager rank as quickly as possible? And then from there, we'll answer any questions. So if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll get to them as soon as possible. So let me jump in real quick. Introduce my wife, Melissa. She's now been with LifeWave just over 4 months. Spends most of her time down here in Costa Rica, and is an avid yoga instructor. And she's, I don't want to, spill the beans, but she's about to do her first yoga retreat next year. She's just building it up. So I'm pretty excited about that for her. It's going to be awesome. We also have Alex, who's leading the way with these calls. She does 3 calls a week. She does this one tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then she does 2 other calls that I was talking about before. She does that Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. And those are the ones that are specifically about X39 and just talking about the product and even a little bit about the business. So let's jump into it. We have a lot to cover here in the first kind of portion of it tonight. So Alex, can you help kind of just give us a reminder of, episode 3 and 4? I know you got amazing feedback from people about it. They love the Soulful selling series. Just, for people that maybe missed it, just kind of tie it in, and then we can kind of talk about, soulful selling and, setting goals for the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. And to let you know, I will be starting the leadership lab on the 8th. So I'm going to be getting those graphics out hopefully tomorrow and posted, and then they'll be also in YouTube as well. So we're going to be doing 4 calls. So I'll be doing 4 calls, but we're going to have that leadership lab is really when you hit manager to get to director. So you start to put on the cap of, okay, what is the structure now? And how do I, solidify my new people that help me get to manager, and then moving forward, because then once we get to director, there's a few more steps to just a little bit more structure to create, to then go completely to the top. And then it's just volume requirements. And so it's it'll be a really good place to go to kind of put that hat on, like what's next? So in that sense, I just want to make sure you knew about that. And then I also, I'm just thinking before I dive into this whole soulful selling thing, because that's really important. But I wanted to just really quickly reiterate, what is it to get to manager, and the importance of maintaining a solid manager structure for yourself. And so it requires that you are at the level of gold or above in terms of the kit, your starter kit. And so gold is where you come in with 5 sleeves and you get the bonus sleeve of one of the others. and that you have an auto ship that adds up to 110 points per month in order to actually promote to manager or any promotion levels after that. Otherwise, you'll just be, you can still be active, but you won't be able to make as much money. So you definitely want to have that auto ship in place. And then, of course, you have 2 silvers that are active, which means that they have at least 55 points every month in, that's hitting their accounts so that they're active. 2 silvers on your left and 2 silvers on your right. And of course, I always want to overshoot the goal, go for 20 on each or 10 on each, so you never have to worry about that. We're always sharing. We're always doing the do, because people will do what you do and your team will do what you do. So you don't want to get into putting on a manager hat and then try to push your people to go and do everything. We all are in the same game together and we get better as we go. So it's important, 2 active silvers on both sides. And you want to maintain that, because I'm not sure, I'm hoping one of you guys goes through the promotions, but there is a requalifying promotion that, the longer that you're qualifying at your level, they're going to start giving you products and stuff like that, which is really exciting. So that's just, again, to encourage those auto ships and the importance of maintaining that active status. So so I just wanted to repeat that really quickly. And so moving into the new year, did you want to say anything before I dive in?
Sorry. Can you just cover what the 55 points means? Just so it's just clear for people.
Sure. So every product comes with a certain point value, right? So somebody who's ordering either a preferred customer or a customer or just one auto ship of X39 is 77 points. And those points go into your personal volume. They help keep your 2 buckets of points from your teams from dumping. You don't want them to dump out. You want to keep those points accumulating. And then as you get more and more happening, then you can start making those cycle bonuses. So 77 points is 1 sleeve. And then, of course, 2 sleeves would bring you to the 110 points. If you just wanted to maintain, let me just give you a couple ideas here too, because sometimes when we bring people in at silver and they're like, well, I have 3 sleeves, I'm not sure I'm ready to share yet. Yes, my husband or spouse or whatever is on one of them, but I still have some. This could be a place, this is the only time that I would recommend that you could invite them to try. This is the only one, this is the X39, because that could be their first auto ship, could be to try the X49 along with it, just to take it to the next level. And then by then they kind of catch up, and that would keep them active throughout that process. So it's just an idea. But again, we focus on X39. It's just X49 does take it to the next level, and it does work in a similar way in stimulating that our body produces a peptide. It's just AHK instead of GHK. I'm not going into any training about that. It's all on the website, and it's just something to consider. So I wanted to say that. The other thing is that if somebody wanted a specific one of the other patches and they brought it up and they found it, then any of the other patches are 55 points just for 1 sleeve. So that could keep somebody active if they wanted something specific, like for energy or for sleep or something to take it to the next level. So just some thoughts, but again, I don't like to introduce other products. It's confusing. And then, then they start getting into everything and and they lose focus. So there's just that I wanted to share. So that's the points. Does that answer?
It does. Yeah, perfect. I think you were going to kind of tie that in with the Soulful series and your, the last 2 episodes, basically.
Okay. Well, really, what I'm going to do, since this call is being recorded and not everybody has been on the other calls, what I want to do is I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to give you a kind of an overview of I'll just tell you what it's about. The whole Soulful Selling series is really, it's a big mindset shift of not presenting too soon so that you can keep yourself from having rejections and objections straight up front. So we're not, pouncing on people, and instead taking all the time on the front end to really uncover if somebody, number one, has a problem that they need solved, whether it's for their health or for a business opportunity. If they have a problem, if they are open to learning about that problem, right? Like if they don't have a willingness to change, then we don't have anything to present. And so it's this whole discovering what's going on. How is it affecting them? Are they willing to make a change? Are they doing anything about it? All these questions put you in the driver's seat. You're saying less, and they are sharing with you their specific needs, why they want things, how it's affecting them not having it, the consequences if they don't change. We just kind of pull out so that they are literally like telling you exactly what they need what their willingness level is to make a change. And then when you're like, well, when that transition comes, it's like, well, you know what, based on these things that you've said, and you know, if I could show you a way that you could have these needs met and you could feel better about it, and you tap into the emotion, you know, is that something that you are open to learning about? Well, yeah, at that point they're like, yeah, tell me about it. So it's really about discovering, building relationship, and it takes some time. And so the series itself, it's technical in the sense that we really pick through each type of question, why, some starter, you know, verbiage about how you can begin to use it. But, you know, X39, I always just say it, head to toe, like hair to toenails, like everything can be affected. So to put them on my call is great to get the overview of everything it can do, but it's not tapping into their specific needs and certainly not their specific emotions. And so it's our job to do that on the front end before we fire hose them over to, you know, everything that this can do, hoping that something's going to stick. And so that's what the whole series is really about. And I'll tell you, putting it together and going through and really synopsing the whole book, which is based on Michael Oliver's natural selling. I call it soulful selling. He also mentions it. It's all about coming from the heart, and serving people deeply, helping them solve their problems, which will, of course, help us solve ours. But this particular book is just all a synopsis of it. So it's called How to Sell Network Marketing Without Fear, Anxiety, or Losing Your Friends. And it works. It absolutely works. I think in all of my time, thankfully, it's a natural way for me to sell in general. But it's not necessarily ingrained in people from the get-go. And so it's important to learn these techniques because it's going to keep you engaged. It's going to bring in solid people who not only are you modeling the care and they're feeling cared for, but they're vested for their own personal reasons. They're not just buying on our enthusiasm, which by all means, you can sell plenty on your own enthusiasm and your own influence, but that's not going to intrinsically motivate them necessarily to put that patch on every day or to pick up the phone and call people. They don't want to be rejected. They know what it feels like to have people come at them and present and fire hose. And so it flips the whole thing on its head. And it's really, really worth studying, practicing, and going into the season. Honestly, it's a perfect time to practice just listening to people, asking questions, not even with the goal to present, because we always know that we have that, but to just see how people respond differently to you and how much more you see that people are willing to share with you. It's amazing. And I love it when they're talking more than when you are. So it's really cool. Let me share this screen here. Do you guys, while I'm grabbing this, have anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, I think it's important, like you just said, this is a great time to kind of reestablish, especially if you want to become a team manager, what these goals are coming up. And I think this series that Alex did was a great opportunity to kind of frame that and build your kind of moving forward business model around it. So
yeah, these are skills. They are absolutely skills, and it'll cause you to listen to yourself and recognize when you're, oh, right, that's why I got that response. You take full radical ownership of the rejections. They're all our own fault, quite frankly, because we can eliminate that. And even objections and trying to answer people with, yeah, but, and, you know, it just eliminates all of that. We don't want to put anyone on the defense. So it is slowing down to speed up. It puts the majority of your focus on getting to know the other person and what their needs are. Again, it doesn't mean that we don't have these opportunities to when they ask, well, what's that thing on you? You know, I mean, of course, we want to be able to say something, but there's also a transition right there that says, you know, I'm super excited to share what, you know, this is, you know, my stem cell activating patch or whatever it is you want to say. But before I tell you about it, tell me a little bit about what's going on. If there's something about your health that you could change or improve, like what would be your top 3 things? You know, that, like, to me, that's an opener. Get them talking. How long have you had that? Are you doing anything about that? Is that working for you? That sounds like, perhaps, is that expensive, you know, or whatever. So you can start digging in. And then when the time is right, you can say, well, okay, well, let me tell you, based on what you told me, you know, with this need and this effect and I do believe this might be something that can help you in these ways. And you can literally just, at that point, they're hungry, they're ready. They're ready to hear more about it and lean in versus just pouncing right at the moment when they ask you what that thing is that you're wearing, you know? So that's what it's about. So in sharing this, this document here, it's a little blurry. I don't have a clean, you know, super clean copy of it. I wish I did, but basically this is just the framework. And what I go through in the 5 stages are, I mean, in the 5 different classes, and I have one more to do next week. Only part of it, this is the discovery process. This is when we start really asking questions, but there's a lot more covered in terms of how to listen, you know, how to open a conversation in the first place, and so many things. But the connecting stage, we went through this last call, this last week, Monday, Tuesday, excuse me. We went through the connecting stage and then the discovering stage, which is the big one, where we're going, you know, basically it says here that we're demonstrating your intent with the connecting questions. Here in the background questions, we're just going to find out some more about them, some basic facts. Then we start to move into, based on those facts, what needs do they have? What are their needs specifically, kind of on a logical standpoint? But then we go into their needs awareness, which is where it starts to turn more into the feelings, because people buy on emotion and then they basically back it up on their logic. But if they don't have that emotion there first and those feelings there first, they probably won't make that buying decision as fast based only on logic. So I go through all of that. Then there's consequence questions, solutions questions, qualifying questions. You're so armed with exactly how to present to present whatever it is, either thing that you're offering. By the time you go through some of this, it doesn't have to go exact orders, but you'll kind of dance around. But once you start to get this, you really know almost intuitively when the time is right and how to customize your offer. And it eliminates all anxiety. It's actually really fun. And so now that I've gone through this myself, I am so excited to start over. Like, you know, I'm going to start over just like everybody else. Every once in a while, you know, it's not like I'm going to fire and then rehire, but I'm going to go and create a whole new list of people. And I'm going to start really utilizing this deeper than I was doing it naturally. I learned some stuff here myself, just in putting it together. It was really a gift, actually, in doing it as much work as it was or is. It's so worth going through. And this will be housed on build331.com. At a certain point, you'll find all sections there. And there's 2 downloads that go with it. And this is one of them. I went through 1, 2, and 3 this week through the transitioning stage. And then next Wednesday, I'm going to be doing the presenting stage and the committing stage, which is going to be a really short call, because the first 3 stages here are the vast majority of what you do. And then there's also something else I wanted to share about what you can be doing now as you head into the new year. So I'm going to share, I don't even need to share something different, but let me, I'll stop sharing this. Let me see if there's one other page I can share with you guys. I think I will. This one. This is another one of the downloads that I created that comes from the book. Sorry, I've got my thing on here. Turn that off. Okay, so this is just that discovering stage that I was talking about. This is just the one with the 5 different types of questions. It's step 2. This is where we dig in. This is a download that you'll be able to have. It'll also, I think, be on the YouTube replays, where it gives you some examples. So the background questions are about what's your present situation. So it gives you some examples here, needs awareness and development questions. So is their present situation working for them? What would you do to change your job? Those types of things. Consequence questions. What if you make an incorrect decision? What could happen? Solutions questions. What would you do to change your present situation? Qualifying questions. Are you prepared to change your present situation? We're bringing people from their past, which is really their current reality. We're really figuring out where they are and helping them to understand where their current reality is. Then we can bridge them to a future possibility. And that's where we can bring people from their pain island to their pleasure island with what we have to offer, again, product or business. So once it sinks in and you understand the framework of what we're doing, you know, people are constantly asking, what do I say? What do I do? What do I say? You know, give me some verbiage. And it's so personal. And when you do this, and when you take the time and you recognize that you can position everything so perfectly for that person, that it's meaningful to them and they're ready to make that change, and you know it, it changes the game. And your ratios of, you know, I hate to use closing ratios, but of people going from a prospective customer to a customer, and then from a customer to a solid, and moving through that chain of, the series of exposures, it goes up through the roof. Like, instead of, selling 2 out of 10, you're looking more like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It changes the game. Totally changes the game. So this is just another document that I created that you can literally have on your desk, just to kind of remind yourself, okay, these are the types of questions I'm looking for. And then you personalize them to our business and our product. I don't do that in the training so much because there's just too much material to cover. I just wanted to get the context and the flow and all of that so that it could sink in, but it really is going to be a personal discovery. So that's really what it's all about. And again, if you actually take the time to study and work with it and practice and practice and practice, it will change your entire business, and it make you a better person, because you'll be listening more, you're going to be caring more. It moves you from your head to your heart. It moves that come from that I'm always talking about, that if you're coming at somebody for your own goal, they feel that energy is transferred without words. If you're expecting it not to happen because it didn't happen the last 5 times, they're going to feel that too. And they're going to feel presented at. And that's just what we're trying to avoid, because we want to help people. We want people to listen to the solution. We know it can help them, but we can't beat them over the head with it. We have to walk them through. And so that's just, I think really important part of this. So let me just share this for going into the new year. If you want to take some time to do this, I'm doing this. So in terms of making a list, and by the way, it addresses all types of contacts. Like Melissa does a lot online. So people are self-selecting. It's almost like her page is her own advertisement. So it's like putting an ad in, and then somebody might DM her and say, can you tell me about this? She doesn't know that person yet. So for her to then start that discovery process, it's kind of like as if you put an ad in a paper. So you'll see in the training, well, what do I do for somebody who comes in as an ad? Like, how do I address that? All of those starters are in the training as well. So you can really have a good sense of how to transition that person who's just leaning in into having that discovery process with them, instead of, oh, you're interested? Here, let me put you on a call. We got to slow down to get that, but I know that Melissa, also, both of you have a similar style of selling too. So your ratios are really good, but the vast majority of people, this is a skill and it takes time. It's not a natural thing, but it actually is just something we moved away from because of the way media is, and people hitting you over the head every time you get on social media. It's an ad after ad after ad, and people are on guard for that. So building the conversation, building the relationship is what this is about. And even if they don't buy, at some point, they know where to go when they're ready. And you won't burn out that relationship. They're not going to be like, oh, here she comes again, or here he is, watch out. We don't want that. So here's the exercise to consider. And this is what I'm doing. So where did I put it? Okay, here it is. So I'm just going to read this little section here. So how you'd open a conversation with your warm market. Okay, before anything, when it comes to your warm market, or just anybody that prepare. 90% preparation, 10% execution. So when you put together a list of names, so fish out everywhere you can, including groups that you are part of, maybe on Facebook, places where you can find new people that you might want to reach out and start to build a relationship with. If they have similar likes and you're in these groups, it's a great place to find people if you feel like you've already, exhausted your list for now or what have you. But just, you want to go through a list. You want to create a list. I promise you, I know it sounds like, oh gosh, this is old school. This is just called intention. So when you put together your list of names, take your list of names that you have, split them into 2, one for your friends and close acquaintances, and then the other for people that you know somewhat, such as people that you do business with. Okay. Then you want to, this isn't going to be for the cold because we don't know them yet, but for these 2, now you want to create a separate page for each name. Literally get yourself a binder if you want to. In fact, you could do a binder with that has those little separators from 1 to 30 as a way to track days of the month. Because when you reach out to them, you can write notes and then slide it a few days later. And then each day of the week, you've got your people in there that you're going to follow up with that day. You might put 3 in each, so that you've got 3 new people every every day that you're going to do to reach out with, and then you just slide them into when you're going to follow up. That's a real paper way to do it. You can certainly use whatever other way that you manage contacts, but nonetheless, if you actually put 100 pages together for your list, you separate them into 2, and then with each, think about everything you know about each person and write down everything you can about them, right? Anything about their family, their hobbies or sports, what they do for work, relationships, especially their likes, dislikes, passions, anything you can put on that paper, you want to put on that paper. So that first connect, you can immediately connect with something that's right there in front of you and start your process of discovery with them. You want to write down all the problems you might have heard them talk about, what our opportunity or our product might be able to do to solve for them. So if they have any health issues, tight finances, anything you can think of that's affecting them. And then when you call, these are the things that you're going to affirm or find out more about. So spend time on this. I mean, literally, you could have a whole fresh, new, exciting list of people with an immediate way that you can start to connect and talk about things and go through this process with them. It's so exciting. I'm actually really jazzed about having some time to do this, because I haven't done this in a long time, admittedly. It's easy for me to get into training mode and all this stuff. But it's no. I need to be doing a solid 3-3-1 as well, to take my business to the next level, right? So I wanted to share that exercise. It is taught in the calls, but that's what I wanted to say about that whole training on soulful selling. Please invest the time for yourself. It will revolutionize all of your relationships when you learn how to listen and be curious and naturally be able to bring up what we want to help people with. And then you're going to win too. Of course, it's not that we want to discount your goals. Those are always there. But in order to reach those goals, we need to serve more people. And that's just how it happens. So
I was going to ask, but I think you may have answered. So when you have those names and you go to reach out to them and you have this whole list of things that you remember about them, are you opening up with this is why I thought of you? Or do you go into that in the Soulful Selling series? You go more into detail about that?
So I go a little bit more into it because there's all these different ways to connect, but I don't necessarily go into like X39 specific, or it's definitely more wrapped around bringing people into the business, just in terms of how to sell network marketing, because that's the leverage part of things. But obviously you want to, when you look at all the health stuff, you might put that in one whole column, and then you might put their life stuff that you want to explore. So typically when I do have a new person come in and they say, well, how do I reach out? I always say, I thought of you because.
Yeah.
So that's what that list is. So you're like, oh, I thought of you because, I found something that, that might tie in with this. Tell me more about what's going on with that. I don't know if this is something to share with you at this point, but is that still something that's going on? And then you start building that conversation around it way before you even say anything. And even with text, I'll do that too. It's like, oh, I'm super excited about something that I found. I think it might be right up your alley, but I'm not going to send it to you unless it's a fit. Do you have a few minutes to get on the phone? I want to see what's going on, catch up a little bit. So I'm being upfront about it. I'm really direct. It does talk about the direct way, which of course I was like, oh, that's me. Because I do. I'm straight up hey, I want to share something with you, but I'm not going to blast you with it. I especially want to reconnect, but I'm not going to do a bait and switch either. That's just icky. So I let them know right up front, but I also tell them if it seems like it might be something to share, then I will, but obviously I'm not going to send it to you if it's not. So let's just hop on the phone. Or you could get on however you like to communicate. I think phone is really nice, or in person if possible. It goes through all of it, all these different scenarios.
Yeah, I'm really loving and appreciating the Soulful series, because I think when I first started, I had a lot of enthusiasm and I really rode with that, and I have the ability to initiate, but I love this idea of coming at it through the lens of service and connecting with the people and having them really discover their why and wanting them to want it. So this has been a really nice transition for me. I'm excited to watch the replays.
Cool. Actually, that reminds me too, real quick before I switch off to you. Well, actually, no, I can say it after. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was just going to say, because you mentioned this also about, reaching out to people, and when it's the right time for them. It's amazing how many people have, Melissa talked to, I would say maybe in the first month or two, and they're actually now reaching back out to her, right? When it's right for them. She planted the seed, She didn't,
Right.
you know, weren't all over them, but people are
Mhm.
just kind of what she's putting out on social media, and then now they're coming back to her when they're ready, and it's kind of like this perfect balance for people. They're not getting overwhelmed, and they
Yep.
can learn from the outside, because that's the nice thing about how Melissa does it for her through social media, and
Mhm.
I think it's a great way to educate people. And when they feel inspired to tap in, they kind of reach back out to her, tap in that way. So
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
add. Oh, sorry.
yeah, I'm a little bit more direct, where, you know, I'm more like you, Alex. Like if I see somebody, then I talk to them, but she has a subtlety with hers. It's nice.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that piece that Alex said earlier. You're planting the seeds for them to come back to you when they're ready, especially if you're playing on the social media realm and they might see it from someone else, but you're
Mhm.
putting yourself out there, and they'll remember, like, okay, if they resonate with you, they'll remember that, oh yeah, but Melissa's doing this and she talked about it. I think I'm gonna go with her. So that's just like a social media perspective to like put it out there, like that you're
Yeah.
doing this. You never know
Yeah.
who's gonna need this.
Yeah. You never know. I might actually get on social media.
Ah,
It's so funny how, yeah, we'll just have to see how that works out. Um, I wanted to share something, what I want to launch the leadership lab with, and you guys all might want to be on it. Honestly, I'm going to recommend that you just get on that first one, just to check it out, see what it's about, see what's coming up next. But what the reason why is because it really is a universal training, and it's called the Passion Path process. It's something that I found from, it's based on, I believe it was based on E-Myth, Michael Gerber. And it was when I had my very first business coach back in like 2003. And I joined my first network marketing company in 2004. And I was working with him, and I'd already done this process that I'm going to share to uncover my North Star. So it's basically the why beneath your why. It's the innermost driver of you, and it's so unique to you. It's not a mission statement. You will come up with a statement in the end that is like a guiding light for your whole life. Every area of your life is distilled into this. And so it's a process, it's an appointment with yourself for sure, that uncovers the things that you don't want in your life, and then flipping that into the things that you do want in your life. And what are the top ones of those, and what self-imposed limitations have you put that you don't have these things now? And then you dive into, you know, it's so cool. It's so cool. But when you come up with that statement for yourself, it's literally like a goosebumps statement. It's so you that you can't, like, you stick it all around the house on a little sticky, you put it on your, you know, in your car dash, or just everywhere. And every decision you make literally becomes guided by that, so that everything comes into such an alignment and becomes more and more effortless. It's amazing. It's such a great process. And I like to do it every few years just to make sure I'm still on track with it in case something within me has changed or grown. But really, it's diving into your own soul in a way to align with that, with everything. And then you'll find that the things that are out of alignment just really rub you the wrong way. They stand out. And then the things that start to become more of a driver automatically just start coming into your life. It's a beautiful process. So I will be doing that. And that does also have a printout. So you can print it out and make that appointment with yourself. So that's how I'm going to kick off that leadership lab. And then I'm going to pull in all leaders that want to come in, and we're going to talk about getting to director and beyond. So yeah, that'll be
nice.
fun.
It's awesome.
Super fun.
Just to kind of transition things here, just because I know I'm aware of time, we got about 15 minutes left. Melissa, do you want to talk about the current brand partner promotions that are happening right now?
Sure. The images were, the print was pretty small, so I had to rewrite it out, and I can post it after I share it here in the chat, and you can just zoom in, save it, and then zoom in and you can see it. So there are some promotions with LifeWave that they're offering for our brand partners. If you like to have goals and something to work towards, this might be for you to just step into and claim. So it's achieve a new lifetime rank, earn for sharing and impacting lives. So this is good for us because we're aiming to launch to become team managers. That's the most important that's the most important rank. And so achieve a new lifetime rank of manager or above during the promotional period and earn additional bonuses. So the promotional period already started. It was from December 11th to January 7th. That is the promotional period for you to hit these new ranks. Now, from what I understand, it's just for US and Mexico, but we are digging into that to see if it's for our fellow Canadians. So here is the extra promotion or the extra bonuses that you'll get. So if you hit team manager between from December 11th to January 7th, you will get an additional $100. If you hit the next rank up to director, you will receive additional $300. If you hit your rank, this is for the first time. Senior director, you'll get $1,000. Executive director, $1,500. This is US. Presidential director, $3,000, and then SPD, senior presidential director, to $6,000. So that's if you hit it. And then there's another promotion. This is if you maintain this paid as rank. So if you rank executive director or above and maintain that paid as rank for at least 3 weeks, and the following 15 weeks, they don't have to be consecutive weeks, but for 15 weeks, you'll get a second additional bonus on top of that. So if you hit executive director and maintain that for at least 3 weeks, within 15 weeks, you'll get an additional $1,000. Presidential director, you'll get an additional $2,000. Senior presidential director, you'll get an additional $2,000. And then there's one more promotion, just sharing this out here. If you rank advanced to senior presidential director during that promotional period and maintain that paid as rank for 7 additional weeks in the following 15 weeks, you will get a third bonus of $2,000. Now, as I'm going through this, I just wanted to share, like, I know we are talking about becoming team manager, and I will just say that when I first got into like affiliate marketing, network marketing, and I heard these terms and saw these bigger ranks, I was like, that's not for me. That's not possible. So I think a really good practice, something that I do, is like to look at these ranks and like notice what comes up in your body, and like go to Build 331 and go to the compensation plan. Alex does a really beautiful video, and just learn about what it means to hit these roles. Doesn't mean that you're going to hit them right away. Maybe never, maybe you will, but to really look at your own body and being and like what comes up for you. Like, oh, that's not for me. But it's like, why not you? Why not you? Anything is possible. So for me, I'm rewiring that energetically, that yes, anything is possible. And I actually have it written down on my little sticky pad, this question, like, what if it works? To like opening up more to possibility rather than thinking like, no, that's just not for me. So I think that's a really powerful exercise to do. And yeah, and like write down, like, it's for me, I love to have goals. Like, what is your goal? Like, where do you see yourself? What rank do you want to hit? And like have fun and play with it, and then write it down. And then bring yourself in a different sort of like a relaxed state, just dropping down, relax, and then feel what it feels like, what it would feel like to be that rank, and really encode that in your body and your being, and then practice that every day. And the last thing I'll say is that I tie that in with a little tapping on my heart. So I remember what it feels like to be, let's say I'm hitting director or executive director, and I imagine what that would feel like if I was senior director or executive director. And then I just tap on my heart, and I tap and I tap, and I feel it and I feel it. And then that becomes an anchor, like a trigger point. So then whenever I'm going throughout my day and I have those thoughts come in, like, not possible, you're never going to do it, I tap, I come back, because I've already anchored that in when I did feel it. And I just remember, it just takes a few seconds. I tap, come back. What if it works? So those are the promotions that are happening right now with LifeWave.
I think there's another one too. If you go into your back office and you go under resources, I think there's another one where if you just maintain your rank for a certain amount of time, they start sending you products. So there's like a product, an incentive where they'll give you, X39 or other patches and things like that too. So, and these contests are going to come all the time. So we're looking at this one now, but in a number of months, there's going to be another one, and then there's going to be another one. So these are always good to look for. They're always going to be, almost always at least, in your back office under resources, or under, I think it's promotions. There's a promotions tab there. So yeah, that's fantastic. And I love what you're just sharing about sinking in. Like, why wouldn't it be for me? There'd be limiting beliefs. And I want you to stretch, right? I say stretch, but don't splatter. Okay. There's a certain point where you stretch and go, okay, this I could see. This is like a few steps beyond where I'm like comfortable, but I'm not splattering to where I'm just shutting down, right? So there's like a magic point for you, but then you start to practice as things are happening, pulling that vision a little bit wider, a little bit wider, a little bit wider. So stretch, but don't splatter. It would be my encouragement with that, because everyone's got it. And again, once you do this inner work, that I'm going to do on the 8th, oh my gosh, like, you'll start to be able to align and see, wait a second, this totally lines up with it. The funny thing is that when I did that process, again, I wasn't yet in network marketing. I had my own business. My daughters were tiny, really young, 5.5 and 2. And I didn't, I had opened a studio. I was doing nutrition teaching and training. And I did this whole vision of how I was going to create a franchise prototype, and I was going to do all these things. Before iPads were around, in my vision, I had tablets, and the gyms were going to all be tied in so you could work out anywhere and they could pull up your stuff. I mean, it was this huge vision. And then I learned about network marketing, and the product fit my business. And I was like, wait a second, this could bring me home. And then I saw the stair steps to the top, and I'm like, this could earn me, I have goosebumps. This could earn me. And I went back to my business coach. I'm like, what if I go home and do this instead? And he's like, is it in alignment with your statement? And I'm covered in goosebumps right now. It was in perfect alignment. And it's like what was brought to me after I did that work was the opportunity that suddenly brought me back home so I could be with my kids. And it was meaningful to me because my kitchen was too small and I was shooing them out, and I couldn't have them up on the counter with me, helping me cook. Like, these were the reasons, the deep reasons. This is what you do in the discovery process. Like, what does it mean to you to be able to have enough money to get the new kitchen? Who cares about the kitchen? I want my kids in the kitchen with me. That's where my heart was. And so it led me into network marketing for the first time. I knew nothing about it. And I was like, well coach, is this going to be okay? I'm going to scrap everything I just created in this vision. And he's like, if it's in alignment, you go do that. He's like, I'm just going to watch your wings sprout. You sing your song and people will dance to it. And I'm like, oh my God, I get permission, and went to the top of the company in record time. It was crazy. And so it's powerful work. The inner work is so, so cool. I'm so glad you brought that up, Melissa. So.
That's awesome. We have about five minutes left, and the last item that we kind of had on the agenda tonight was just to talk about, recapping, starting your business. What are some of the key things as we're going into the new year, just so people can kind of start to plan their New Year's resolutions. To get to team manager, from the two of you, what are the 3 top things from each of you, your perspectives, to kind of get there?
You go. All right, I'll go. You want me to go? I'll go. I've already said them. So
Yeah.
I'm say make your list, really
Yeah.
spend time on that, and take some time to go through the soulful selling. Really let that sink in so you can do business in a new and better way, which I believe you'll understand. It does not slow things down. You speak to less people, you have better results, you'll have more fun, and you can constantly be adding to your 331, because when you have that list, like I said, you can literally plan out, I'm going to talk to these 3 this time, and then these 3. And then all of a sudden, you're not chasing 5 people. You've got like all these people. And so you're just touching whenever you can. You're helping them come to this next exposure. You're checking in on their results. Hey, who do you know? You might know people that I can't, you're going to know people I can't touch without your introduction. Who do you know that might also benefit from this? I'll share on your behalf, or you can introduce me. And of course, if they decide to do something, or they, or you get a couple of customers, then we'll have a different conversation and I'll show you how you can make some money. There's just, that is so exciting to me. So get that list going for sure. And then on the 8th, come and join and get really aligned and anchored into your new year. This is going to be a great year. Great year.
Nice. Melissa, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that was awesome. I'm also a little on the downward of recovering from being knocked down. So thank you. I think that was perfect.
I really, for everybody though, that the foundation of creating that list is so fundamental. Like I don't think you can't overlook that, because there's so much power in that list, and there's so much that you can do with that list. And I think all of us know at least 100 people easily that we can put on that list, and you'd be amazed when you actually start talking to some of those people, who those people will come back to you and say, oh, I have a friend that, might be interested in this. So that list goes from 100 to 150 or 200 people, super easy. And just, you can really tap into your network, and it doesn't take a lot. And that 331 program is such a game changer. So
Yeah. And don't be tempted to do 10, 10, 10.
Yeah.
Because you will get overwhelmed. You'll overwhelm yourself. The 3-3-1 builds upon itself for sure. But that enthusiasm, when you have a list of people, you'll be able to breathe easier because you don't feel like you're going back to people and trying to push them along. You know, it's like, hey, the train's coming through. You can hop on it this time, or we're going to come back around. Like, it's just, you can always hop on when you're ready, but there's enough people, you know, you'll be excited to get up and share with 3 new people that day, and then follow up with the 3 from the last time or whatever. It'll be, you'll find that it just becomes the way you do business, you know, and you can still do it in the nooks and crannies. It's only, you know, a few calls or reach outs or touches. So it shouldn't be too overwhelming. Thank you, Donna, for your comment. Appreciate that. Were there any questions on YouTube?
I don't think they actually, the team didn't start the YouTube channel tonight. So
Oh, there wasn't YouTube?
Not
I
today.
would,
No,
yeah,
we
no.
don't do YouTubes for a long time.
We've been doing YouTubes all along for a long time. Huh. Okay, well, I'll see what's going on.
Not
Okay.
live. It's posted.
Okay. I thought we were. All right, no problem. So all right. So I think that's
Yeah.
what I have to say.
We'll give you a little break before your 8 o'clock
Yeah.
Eastern call. So
Unless
if anybody
has questions, I certainly, if somebody wants to jump in and ask something, I'm fine I'm ready to go. So does anybody have any questions? You want to go ahead and fire a question off into the chat? And if not,
no questions.
Questions, comments? All right. No. All right. Well, I hope you have a beautiful holiday. I'm going to be on in a few minutes again. We do not have a call next week for Monday, or the following week for Monday. So just, you know, in observation of the holidays, but Wednesday calls will still be on, and I'm going to be finishing the Soulful series on Tuesday next week. So we'll make sure everything's posted in Facebook group for you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, ladies. I appreciate both of you answering so many questions tonight and sharing your knowledge. And to everybody, I hope you guys have a great holidays, and join us again tonight on the call with Alex at 8 p.m. Have a great night, guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all. Bye.